Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. Well, today is all about Nashville's culture, the unwritten rules that govern how we move through Middle Tennessee. We're calling this Roundabout call-in episode Nashville Nice. We actually covered this topic in the early days of this show. This is Nashville. We had a fourth-generation Nashvilleian share that politeness was drummed into her from an early age. See if you can identify with Valley Forrester. She's a playwright, actor, and teacher.
We were raised here to put being nice before being truthful, to put being nice before our real feelings. And so asking people in an acting class to go for their real feelings is really tough. It takes a long time to get people to just simply be truthful, because being truthful reads as rude. And the opposite of nice is rude or offensive or unpleasant, things we would never want to be.
Yeah, well, maybe we're all just acting. Maybe that's the answer. Does Valley's experience sound familiar? Does it explain some of the interactions you've had with longtime Nashvilleians, perhaps? We're going to get beneath the surface of Nashville Nice today with our panel, and we're taking your calls on the topic throughout the hour. Join us on air with a phone call, 615-760-2000. We're also streaming video at youtube.com/@WPLN, and you can leave your thoughts right there in the chat, and we'll try to work them into the conversation. Let me welcome our expert panel from my right to left. Demetria Kaladimos may have left TV news in 2018, but she's still busy making news at the Nashville Banner and putting out interviews and documentaries. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Blake. So great to be here.
Well, thank you. Reverend Davy Tucker, pastor of Beach Creek Missionary Baptist Church, born and raised Nashville. He's also executive director of the Metro Human Relations Commission. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
And Stacey Irvin, photographer from East Nashville, immunocompromised and living with MS, multiple sclerosis, which gives her a better view than most about our public manners. Stacey, welcome to This Is Nashville.
Oh, thank you so much. Nice to be here.
All right, so our Roundabout episodes are all about including your voice, and by you, I'm talking about listeners. What does Nashville Nice mean to you? Is it real? Is it complicated? Join us on air, 615-760-2000. All right, Davey, you've been here longer than the rest of us, right? I mean, since birth. So let's first see what the newcomers have to say, and then you can set them straight here at the end. So Demetria, I think you moved here in the mid 80s, maybe surprised by Nashville's almost rural, spread out feel. How would you explain the unique culture of Nashville in the 80s and 90s?
Well, it struck me immediately
Really?
that people were more outgoing and friendly.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from suburban Chicago, 12 miles outside of the center of the city.
And it really did, you noticed that it was different.
I did. And I don't know if that was by virtue of holding a microphone in my hand and being on television.
you're talking
and
to a lot of people.
People being obliged to welcome the new girl. But even those who were struggling to pronounce my name, which was a daily sort of activity, I found people to be nice. And I think one of the first things that struck me is everyone seemed to have involvement. Where do you go to church? Where do you volunteer? What do you do? You know, what team do you coach? And I just, coming from where I came from, that wasn't a given.
Okay. So they're kind of in your business even.
A little bit.
Okay, even as strangers. Stacey, you moved here in the 90s to go to Vanderbilt, and you stayed. What did you notice back then?
Oh, wow. Well, I came from Dallas, which was, a lot bigger. And so it was, it felt like a real kind of sleepy little town to me. But I was welcomed. I just noticed how friendly people were all across campus. You couldn't go from your dorm to class without having, interactions with so many people. And I think it just, it made me feel happy.
Did you feel like it was people in this place? It was folks from Nashville, from Tennessee that were I mean, because I've spent a lot of time in Texas, and it's a hospitable place. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been fortunate to travel many places around the world, and I feel like at the heart of it, humanity wants to connect. Mm-hmm. So in a way, but there is something special about Nashville where maybe what Valley was saying, people just feel obliged to kind of ask questions and answer in pleasantries.
Yeah.
So there's a funny little balance we're all trying to meet, but
yeah. No doubt about that. Reverend Tucker, you grew up here, then I think the Marine Corps, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you were at the Sheriff's Department, which I didn't realize until prepping for this. But, listen, you saw a lot even before you were at the Metro Human Relations Commission. What would you consider like the unique characteristics of this place?
A little bit of both sides.
Okay.
I enjoyed growing up when I was a kid. This area here was where we would come and play.
You're talking about where we're sitting here, Metro Center, in the floodplain of the Cumberland River. Yeah.
There was a place here called Bush Lake. We'd bring BB guns down here, and I forget what day it was, but the ice cream guy would stack up the outdated ice cream and put dry ice around it. So we would all come down on our bikes and
so
eat ice cream.
It sounds very quaint. Still small town feeling.
But still two Nashvilles.
Okay.
Once I leave North Nashville, downtown was different.
Okay.
West Nashville was different.
Different for you? Is that what you? Or
yes.
Yes. As a black man.
Well, even as a black child.
Okay.
We would often take the bus downtown to, go through the arcade. There was a circus kind of thing on the second floor of Harvey's. There was Billy's Burgers, which was a Crystal's knockoff. But we had rules when we went downtown that my mother was adamant about that I didn't understand. That as I grew older, it's that undercurrent of race that's always present.
Wow. Well, maybe we jump to that. On a previous show that was sort of on the same topic, we had Benjamin Houston, who's author of The Nashville Way, Racial Etiquette and the Struggle for Social Justice in a Southern City. And he explained that Nashville's long been preoccupied with promoting kind of an ideal version of itself to potential businesses and to residents, and kind of trying to ingrain this shared value of civility. But here's what he said. He said that this focus kind of comes with a downside.
There's a way in which if you are sharing a particular value, then it enables you to stifle the dissension that actually might exist within a community. And actually, Nashville is a rich ecosystem of different classes and races and all sorts of different social markers, and manners or shared values such as niceness end up becoming a social lubricant where people can sort of navigate these tensions more or less smoothly. But when the emphasis is on being nice as opposed to becoming more just or more equitable, then that can be a problem.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just my upbringing here, but or just my personality, but this one hits home for me. Making peace feels more important than taking a stand a lot of times. Reverend Tucker, I mean, there was even this concept. I mean, it's the reason it's the title of his book, The Nashville Way, that kind of put emphasis on manners and decorum during the civil rights era. And it's a term coined by the boosters, mostly white people. But, remind us, was this kind of less confrontational approach even embraced by civil rights leaders in that era here in Nashville?
Unfortunately, yes, and even now it's still present.
Yeah.
I was considered probably a community activist or something, and one of the frustrations is individuals who still play by these rules.
The rules that are what? Don't ruffle feathers?
Yeah. I'm offended when I have to go and ask someone to do something that I think that they should know is the right thing to do. So I'm already on edge in that way. And so you can be with a group that you can see where the outcome is going, and there's still a reluctance to push this thing and call a thing a thing. So you have these pseudo relationships that garner nothing for the community, but they maintain. It's expressive of the word gentility for me.
Gentility.
Yeah, it's that you're talking to people who want to present themselves as above the fray, enlightened, and thinking of everyone's interests because of the resources that they possess, but they never make the move or the change to be the difference. So yes, it still exists. I don't participate.
And I guess it sounds like it gets you raised eyebrows from time to time.
It does, and I have one short little story.
Yeah.
I do not make it a habit to publicly pray. I do not allow public officials to summons me to pray.
I see.
So a group of black preachers went to meet with the former mayor to talk about policing. And I made it clear to them that if y'all are going to pray, let me stay out. So we get in the room, everybody's sitting around, and the mayor says, "Why don't you open up in prayer?" That's so patronizing and insulting to me. I got up and said, "Hold on, call me back when you all are done."
Wow.
And I exited the room. And that's part of that.
Yep.
That's this expectation from me when I can't enjoy the same expectation from you. And so, yes, it does exist. It still exists. And it can be problematic to change things that we all know are wrong, and we may just be struggling with how and what is the best way to address it. And Nashville Nice means that it'll never get addressed.
Wow. Well, heads are nodding in this room and probably in cars and in homes all over the place. If you're just joining us, I'm Blake Farmer. This is Nashville. It's this Roundabout episode. We've got a panel here focused on the culture of Middle Tennessee. We call it Nashville Nice. Does it exist? Does it depend on what community you're in within this region? Has it helped us or hurt? We're taking comments on the air. If you'd like to call in, 615-760-2000. You can also chime in on the video stream at youtube.com/@WPLN. Wendy says, "When I moved to Nashville in 2003, everyone was so nice. I thought they were up to something. Found out that they were not, and it rubbed off on me, and I kind of became nice." Demetria, is that the? Is that?
I've got to tell you,
please.
When I moved to town, I would lock the doors the minute I got out of the car, even if I was going 20 feet. That was just a Chicago reaction to me. I still lock my car. I think it's a wise thing to do, sometimes with the keys inside, and that's a whole different story. But I'm with her. At first, when people were engaging me in pleasantries in the line of a grocery store, I would cling to my purse a little tighter.
Wow.
It was just the way I came up, and just to be a little suspicious of people that might be a little too outgoing. And I did quickly turn into one of those people that was starting the conversation.
Oh, boy.
And when my folks would come down and visit, they would notice also. They thought that everyone in Nashville was so nice.
Well, that's what we're trying to say. But Davey's trying to give us a reality check here. No, I'm with you. Stacey, I'm going to turn to you for just a second. You've seen Nashville from two very different experiences. I mean, an able-bodied person, but now living with a very visible disability. I wonder if, like, Nashville Nice, as we're talking about, changes depending on, whether folks might perceive you need help or something like that.
Wow. Well, yes, I feel like, it seems like some days I go out and people are just falling over themselves to help me.
Yeah.
I really haven't found myself in a position where I needed help and couldn't, look up and find somebody who wanted to offer help. So I'm really grateful for that. And I do feel like an element of that is in the culture of Nashville Nice, but it's also people just doing the right thing and It's occasionally someone maybe won't make eye contact with me, and I wonder if they're nervous or if it has anything to do with my being in a power chair, or if it may have nothing to do with it as well. And it may be, they're having a bad day or they're just completely wrapped up in their thoughts. So I try not to read too much into it if someone isn't displaying outward, Nashville Nice.
Yeah. Well, but would you compare the two experiences? I mean, when you were starting out in a power chair, were you highly conscious of this?
I really wasn't. I feel like, it's funny, prior to being in a power chair, you see someone with a bunch of, I was lugging around camera gear and things.
Right.
And people would help hold the door and offer to, help me if I didn't have an assistant or something with me. So in a way, I feel like it hasn't really changed that much.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about this Nashville Nice concept, and we're going to be talking about it all hour. We do need to take our first break. When we return, we're going to inspect how we treat celebrities. And that is, of course, to play it cool. Let them be, right? Well, you tell us. 615-760-2000. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This Is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. We've got some famous people in these parts, and more famous people do spend time here, even if they haven't decided to make Nashville home yet. And there's been a general feeling that Nashville's a place that where we let celebrities be. Little story time here. So my dumb dog decided to go exploring a few months ago. This is actually not that unusual, which is why his collar has my cell phone very big on it in white numerals. But I get a call. Guy's like, "Do you have a dog named Ranger?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. Let me come get him. I'm sorry." He said, No. We've already got him loaded up. I'm bringing him right to you. So this brand new 4-door Porsche starts coming up my driveway, and I see my golden retriever in his back seat. He and his wife get out. He says, "Hey, I'm Clint." Sunglasses, baseball cap. Looks a little familiar, but anyway, he's talking about where they found the pup, and suddenly realize this is 90s country icon Clint Black and his wife, actress Lisa Hartman. Anyway, I thank him profusely. They say, "Oh, we love our dogs. Couldn't imagine wandering around on the road, getting hit by a car." So I don't want to make him feel weird, even though I do kind of want to let him know that I know. And so I just say, "Yeah, Ranger's always looking for somebody more famous to live with." And anyway, Clint says, "Well, Ranger acted like he didn't even know me. It's how we do in Nashville, And I guess that it is. That's the long windup to say we're talking Nashville Nice this hour, and we're chatting a bit about what that means on how we treat public figures. Call to join the conversation at 615-760-2000, or leave your thoughts in the chat on the video stream at youtube.com/@WPLN. Our Roundabout panel includes Nashville native Davey Tucker, Stacey Irvin, a photographer from East Nashville living with MS, and Demetria Kaladimos, journalist, documentarian, TV legend in Nashville. So, actually, on the Nashville banner, it says Nashville. It says something about media legend, and I just love that. Still a household name. So I imagine when you were on TV every day, you had a lot of this kind of interaction. How did it go?
Still.
Well, yes.
And I think that's amazing because, and it's kind of generational. If they're older folks, they remember me from television. If they're younger folks, they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
But someone else is making a big deal. It's funny, your story about Ranger. I think one of the things that hit with a thud when ABC had their primetime Nashville program that brought the throngs of people to town is they were constantly showing paparazzi swarms.
I know. It was
which
like that
never happened.
I've never
here.
seen it. I remember that TMZ said they were opening a bureau or something here,
and it closed pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
I think it tells us that we do have, at least when it comes to giving folks their privacy, we do have a unique sensibility and a sense of respect. We've had music makers since day one. We've had people whose faces may not be immediately recognizable, but you can know them when you hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of that part of our culture that we do give people their space.
Yeah, David, you've been around a long time. What does that tell you about Nashville? Does it tell you anything?
Well, I think the proximity to stars here in Nashville, you get used to it. I mean, it was not uncommon all the way up until just in the passing was Little Richard. You could see him in the car.
I kind of forget that he
lived downtown.
Lived downtown. You pulling into John Prime.
Yeah.
I mean, you're subject to be in some restaurant, and all of a sudden, he's going to share a couple songs, and he's going to talk to you. You had restaurants that catered to, and so you just got used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, and for the most part, it's just part of that. It's not really surprising to see some country star or TV star in your neighborhood, in the Krogers, in the park, and you just keep it moving.
And I think there's actually an upside to that because the star feels as if they need to be a member of the community and not be set apart. So, as a result, I think we have seen some people with extraordinary community spirit.
If you got a story to share, hit us on air, 615-760-2000 to join us right now. Or leave some thoughts on the video stream at youtube.com/@WPLN, just right there in the chat. Stacey, in your past work as a photographer, I feel like you're probably a better observer than a lot of this, even, you're photographing events and that sort of thing where you witness these interaction with celebrities. Did you notice anything unexpected that might tell you something about what's beneath this culture here?
Well, gosh, as a photographer, not specifically, but I can relate to, or I learned about how Nashville kind of gives celebrities their space.
Yeah.
As a freshman at Vanderbilt in '94, way back when Garth Brooks was, at the height
that's
of
the heyday.
the heyday. And I was coming out of class and somebody said Garth Brooks is at Tower Records.
Which is right across West End,
yes,
right?
And I lived in the dorms right over by, Lowe's Hotel. So it was just, I got back to my dorm. I told some other people on my hall, and there were like 4 of us that just booked at Town West End. I mean, we were running. We had on our winter coats, and I expected a mob scene,
right?
And we go in Tower Records. We're all out of breath, and we're looking around, and there's nothing out of the ordinary. And finally, we see this guy with a baseball cap on, and it's Garth Brooks just leafing through CDs, and nobody's bothering him. And so we were very timid and kind of learned really quickly that, it's different here and you need to give him space. He did ultimately we got our courage up, and he was so sweet. But that was my introduction to how things are different here with celebrities. And I've always given celebrities their space when I'm in line at the coffee shop or.
Well, do you think it's changing, though? I mean, I know that people, it's one of the reasons there's so many people, on Lower Broadway, or you see tourists walking up and down Music Row as if that's where you're going to see people or something. They're kind of they're hoping that something like they saw on the TV show Nashville is going to happen here. Do you think that folks who are visiting know the rule?
No, absolutely not. I think, it's, I feel bad for the celebrities that used to have it.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a call real quick from Darren in South Nashville. Darren, you're on This Is Nashville. Darren, can you hear us? Well, Darren, we may have a little trouble hearing you right now, or it's on my end. So we'll come back to you in a moment if we can. But Demetria, what do you make of whether tourists kind of understand kind of the unwritten rule to not bother?
I'm not sure they do, and you can kind of see the sea change between the old days of fanfare. And now we have CMA Festival, which is a television spectacle. So the one-on-one, the shaking hands, the posing for selfies, that whole part of the thing, I don't know if we outgrew it and the crowds just got too big, or the expectation is that there's going to be a barrier between artist and fan for reasons of safety or otherwise. But I think looking at that as an example and how that annual thing has changed. Perhaps is feeding into this idea that, the celebrity is out there and we can't get close.
I see. That there's distance between you. Hey, Darren, I think we have you now. Darren in South Nashville, you're on the show.
Hey, Blake, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. It's on. It's our bad on that one.
Oh, all good, man. Yes, I used to work in Belmead at a place called Bread and Company, a bakery.
Listen, we miss what was my favorite sandwich over there?
Jalapeno bread.
Oh my gosh! Well, listen, our mouths are watering, Darren. But go on.
Well, it was the mid '90s. I was in my mid 20s, and it was just kind of a temporary thing. But Demetria was a regular, and she was the nicest. She always treated us so kind, and we knew who she was, but we kind of had that Nashville understanding. We didn't really bug her or go. But, locally, it's easy to get starstruck. She was a local star for sure. But I just wanted to say you were always so very kind to us. And I always remember that.
Well, thank you so much. The funny thing, too, is when your friends come, your college roommates or whatever, that's when you want people to really make a big deal. And that's when you can't get recognized for anything. It's when you're in your pajamas and you need cold medicine that they're calling you out.
Right. Hey, Darren, thanks so much for sharing that. If you want to call in with Darren, the number is 615-760-2000. Dimitri, though, in other cities, I mean, obviously each market is sort of its own thing, but do TV personalities, anchors, have more of this issue in other cities where they're sort of have to be careful about how often they're out in the community just doing their own thing?
I don't think anymore. There
Really?
are so many
'Cause there's
choices
so many
now,
people.
and there's no allegiance.
Yeah.
TV used to be appointment viewing.
Yeah.
You couldn't catch it. If you didn't catch it live, you couldn't see it. And someone like Bill Hall, who loved every minute of being out in the community.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan Miller used to have his windows tinted on purpose.
Really?
But more times than not, he had them rolled down, so he was defeating the purpose.
What is that? We're talking about Nashville Nice today. If you're just joining us, I'm Blake Farmer. It's kind of a tricky conversation trying to put our finger on, whether we have this shared culture of niceness and how it's changing, which is what we want to talk about. Do you see culture shifting locally? Is this Nashville Nice idea still a prevailing attitude? What about in your circles? Join us on air, 615-760-2000, or chime in on the chat where we're streaming video from the studio at youtube.com/@WPLN. Aside from tourists, there are a lot of people moving here, and not just from like Alabama and Kentucky, as was the time. There's Chicago, a lot of California, even some New York. I wonder, Davey, do you see, are they assimilating or are they changing us to some degree? Do you have an opinion?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether people do it everywhere, but you can always say, okay, they're not from here. And that could be from a plethora of things that you come to that conclusion. And normally you're right. They're not from here. So I think it can be a bit of both. Interesting little story. Lived in the same neighborhood for 30 years. Public parking is public parking on the street, but people tend to park in front of their own house, and their neighbors tend to park and not everybody would prefer to park in front of their own house, but if something is happening, it's no big deal.
Mm.
And so people tend to park in front of their own house.
Yeah.
But when people come from out of town, they never think about that.
Right.
And so there may be no cars parked in front of their house, and they park in front of your house. Or they may leave a car in front of your house for several days, and there's no cars in front of their house. And the trepidation and everything that goes into saying, look around.
Yeah.
Cars tend to end up in the same place every evening.
I see. So you're noticing your neighbors, and yeah. Well, that's something that we also do. So we're adding it to the list of what is Nashville nice. Anna chimes in on YouTube, says stars who come to Nashville need to be aware of reciprocating the niceties us citizens give them. We've had a super rude interaction with a star who carried a rep with her, and we were not allowed to look or talk directly to them, only to the rep. Wow, Anna, interesting story. We now, curious minds want to know who we're talking about, but we'll leave it there because we're playing Nashville nice. We're going to go to the phones. Elvis, you are on This Is Nashville. What you got?
Hi, how's everybody doing? I just wanted to say I think it's a very interesting conversation, and I think it's just the way Nashvillians are. When I was younger, I worked at Old Charlie's, and Lee Greenwood came in with seemed like about 12 of his family members or friends. And the restaurant was full, but no one ran up to him. No one tried to get an autograph. He was very kind, and people would smile and kind of wave across the table.
And this is Lee Greenwood of Proud to Be an American fame, if you're trying to pick that up. And Elvin, my apologies. I saw Elvis on my screen here. It clearly says Elvin. But Elvin, go on.
Elvin, yes. That's all right. I get that a lot. I think it was just the culture is just, hey, they're regular people. Let them have some time to themselves with their family. And, just from a distance, say hi and keep it moving. And then also later on I had the chance to meet Chris Clark, who was one of the weathermen here in Nashville, and when I was working at Nashville Pet Emergency.
Ah, yes.
He came in. Yeah, he came in.
The great Chris Clark at Channel 5, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very nice. And he came in with one of his pets about 2 a.m. to the emergency clinic, and he actually signed one of my. I didn't have anything to autograph for him to sign, so I had my school book, my biology book. And so he signed the inside cover of my biology book.
Elvin, I love that Chris Clark's signature is on some textbook that you sold down the road somewhere, after your semester was over.
I didn't sell.
Oh, okay.
I needed that book, so I kind of held on to it.
Elvin, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was saying, and I've met a couple other people here in Nashville, famous people, and it seems like it's just a mood. No one, yes, we see them and we recognize them, but, it's kind of like, let's give them the respect of they're out, on a family thing or, trying to take in a movie and say hi and keep going.
Well, Elvin, a beautiful idea. Appreciate you dropping it in here on the conversation. Let's take one more call. Let's go to Timothy in Hendersonville. You're on This Is Nashville.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. Go. What you got for us?
Yeah. I actually moved here from Des Moines, Iowa in 1984 and to Hendersonville, Tennessee. And when I came here, it was so different. You'd see Johnny Cash driving around his powder blue Mercedes waving at people.
Yeah, well, he was up there on the lake in Hendersonville, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. June Carter Cash had, and her mom had the antique store, so you could just go in and see them whenever you wanted. And across the street, you had Conway Twitty's Twitty City. And Conway was always talking to everybody. Every Sunday, he and his family be at Shoney's eating breakfast. Always nice. They always have they always every year still have the buses at the Walmart parking lot for people to tour their buses, to raise money for charity. And
wait, they would let you tour their tour buses as a way to raise money? I actually don't know that I knew about that, Timothy. Thanks for informing me.
Interesting. They've been doing that for like 30 years.
Yeah.
It'll be this Christmas again, too, I'm sure.
Well, this is great, and Timothy, appreciate you sharing those insights with us. We're going to take one more break, and when we return, we're going to kind of talk about whether our evolving culture of hospitality, along with other headaches associated with the growth of Nashville, is, even driving some people to say, is this a place that I still want to be? Because, things have changed so much, like Timothy talked about. Have you considered if you're in for the long haul? Join us on air to talk about it. 615-760-2000. Stay with us. This is Nashville.
Funding for This is Nashville comes from you, our listeners, and Music City Prep Clinic, Nashville-based provider for PrEP and offering comprehensive sexual health services in an environment designed to be safe, professional, and shame-free. Learn more at musiccityprep.org.
I'm Blake Farmer, and this is Nashville. It's a Roundabout episode. Our panel handling your calls include photographer Stacey Irvin, TV news legend Demetria Kaladimos, and Reverend Davey Tucker of the Metro Human Relations Commission. We're checking in on Nashville Nice, waving at everyone you see, using your car horn only as a last resort, and never approaching celebrities. As this region grows, and to be clear, it's kind of the surrounding suburbs that are adding most of our residents these days. But things change. If you came from Alabama or Kentucky, Southern hospitality, probably part of your upbringing too. But if you're from the Northeast or California, kindness, hospitality may look a lot different where you grew up. When Mayor Freddie O'Connell was running for mayor, he used the slogan, "We want you to stay," because he said he was hearing from people who were kind of fed up with all the change, including kind of some of this cultural stuff, and considering leaving. And the changing culture is kind of part of that. The small town feel, not what it was. Has the city changed enough for you to want to get out? We'd love to hear from you in this segment. 615-760-2000 is the phone number to join on air. Or you can leave a thought in the chat of the video stream, and we'll work it in on air. The video stream's at youtube.com/@WPLN. All right, so Reverend Tucker, if Nashville Nice is slipping away, and I'm not sure that we could ever say that it really is, but is there a way to pull it back? Would you want to?
That's a complicated question, and I don't want to be complicated in my answer.
Oh, boy. Well, wait, Demetria will hop in if you need her.
But I think what's happening is the affordability issue,
okay,
the gentrification, that has changed culture from, if you're from here, people that are here don't see what I don't see anymore.
You're saying that they don't notice things have changed.
Yes.
I see.
So for people that are from here, there's some real reasons that why some people feel like they need to move.
Yeah.
And hopefully that there are those that are from here and that have become a part of this place that are trying to make a difference in those things that push people out of the county.
Yeah.
That it just becomes, I would like to live there. I would love to live here, but I can't.
Yeah, Nashville Price is killing Nashville Nice.
Oh, boy, that's a slogan. Put that on a bumper sticker.
I like that. That's
Nashville
a little bit of
Price,
a alliterative thing
Nashville
there.
Nice.
Really?
Well, what do you mean there?
On point.
Well, just what Davey said. Folks are saying, boy, I'd sure love to still be in my childhood home. But the taxes have run me to, just going to say Wilson County, because I think that's the next big place where people are finding somewhat a level of affordability. Yeah. And I think right now we have sort of a glaring example of Nashville not so nice. The removal of the benches on Korean Veterans Boulevard, KVB, because I guess someone didn't like what was the people that were using those benches to get relief during the day. We now have replaced them with these round cement orbs that no one can sit on.
Yeah, and this is there was even a project last weekend. Our Paige Flager did a story about it because there were clergy members who were building benches to put
bus stops
on KVB Bridge because they had been removed, and putting them on bus stops. But kind of to say that no, this is not in line with our ethos. That people need a place to rest, to even to sleep. So yeah, that's good. Hey, listen, we're going to go to the phones again. DJ in Franklin, Kentucky. It sounds like you're not in Nashville anymore.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Good afternoon to everybody.
Well, hello. So you moved to Kentucky? DJ, you still there?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that, sir?
Well, so it sounds like you moved. Did you move from Nashville to Kentucky?
Yes, that's correct.
What was going on?
So Nashville prices getting in the way of Nashville Nice.
Yeah.
When I originally moved here, it was 1993. My mom was employed with Saturn at the time. So we had a big influx, obviously, of Michiganders coming to take over a lot of the opportunities in that plant, along with other Tennesseans.
And so that's since Saturn has been gone so long, just as a reminder, General Motors built the plant in Spring Hill. Originally, it was to make the Saturn cars, and I guess that was your family too, DJ?
Right. I'm originally from Michigan, so, that was a pretty much a no-brainer for us at that time. But pretty much, to make a long story short, she was able to purchase a home back then for, around 70K in Antioch, which was a nice suburb at the time. Fast forward to, even maybe in 2010, 2013, my brother actually was able to purchase a nice home in Madison for around the same price. When it comes time for me to try to do the same thing, that house, either one of those is 4 times as much as, they were then. But obviously the compensation for occupations hasn't really kept up with that.
DJ, you're right on the money there. And we'll take your point here. I'm Stacy, I'm wondering, you're from East Nashville. Talk about a place that suddenly became so desirable for folks, and people kind of got priced out. How much is that related to people's, attitude and who gets drawn to the neighborhood?
Oh, wow. Well, and it was written about all over, so people heard it was the cool place to come, and it's definitely changed, and the prices have gone up, like we're talking about. So, I have friends who have left. They've been able to sell their home and relocate, and others who are, priced out rent wise and having to leave the neighborhood. So it's been hard, and I'm in a position where I'm fortunate to still be able to live in the area and have a lot of friends who are still pretty secure in their houses in East Nashville. But it's been hard to see, and it's been hard to see all the change. I was in East Nashville back shortly after I graduated, and I've watched the gentrification. I've watched all of it used to be a place where you could afford artists. I come from the art community and the songwriters, and folks could rent a house or buy a house, and so I wish that more opportunity was still there for people to migrate here and not have it so tough.
When there isn't a natural place for let's say the artist to be able to locate and live a little bit more cheaply while they apply their craft, it's really tough. We're gonna take one more call. Lisa, calling from West Nashville. You're on This Is Nashville.
Oh, well, I was just thinking about Nashville niceties.
Okay.
You all were talking about that earlier, and I remember if you ever saw a funeral, you stopped and pulled over on the side of the road, and you didn't budge till that funeral procession had passed. And I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, you don't see it as much, Lisa. That's a really interesting point that I know is certainly a tradition in many parts of the country. But Reverend Tucker, is there anything different there that you're saying?
I grew up when that's what you did.
Right.
But some people still do it. I'll still do it. But I watch all the time of individual drivers that interfere with the processional. And while I'm waiting and want to get around it too, my acclamation is, no, you wait until it passes. So
what does that say about us? Because, I think there's something, Dimitri, about, maybe we feel like we're in a hurry. Like in all of this stuff, it's kind of the hustle and bustle. Listen, it is taking twice as long to get across town maybe for you, and so you're in a hurry. Like, what is all this connected?
It very well might be, and I'm wondering out loud, is there a way for us to talk about aspirations and expectations? If that's something we'd like to see return to our daily neighborly culture, maybe there should be, for lack of a better term, like a code of conduct. Like, this is how we do it here. Welcome to town. We don't honk the horn except for, absolute emergencies. We'd like to see you pull over if there's a funeral procession. I mean, talking about the rules, and I use that with a small r, or at least the expectations of living in our city.
Well, the airport has many voices. Maybe your voice has been on the airport intercom. Has it?
No.
Okay,
no,
not
but
yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
But you hear where we're going. So we have Davy Tucker, obviously. Tell everybody the rules of the road. What shall they be?
Well,
what's a good one to bring back?
Well, I was just thinking about what Demetria says, and what came to my mind is this increased incivility.
Okay.
That is not only here in Nashville, but it's everywhere.
Indeed.
And I think that this seems to be the death of some very important virtues, like tolerance. If you're in any long-term relationship with anybody, for any length of time, you have to tolerate something. And whether it's an in-law, whether it's he chews with his mouth open, I don't like her laugh, but I think I see that as a larger decay of what had been societal norms that suddenly now, and it shows up in political discourse, and I think there's this round robin of how it feeds each other, that these basic, what I would just call common decencies toward other humans are starting to mean less and less. Even in the way people drive here now. You literally have to be a defensive driver. People run red lights, and just looking at the number of walking pedestrians that are being hit by cars.
Well,
I think all of that is not that these places always have been dangerous. They should have been fixed. But I think if you were to look, there was a time when more people started getting hit. And I think it's a overall culture I don't think that's very healthy for us.
I'm sorry.
Stacey, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, all the stress and frustrations on the road, trying to find respite from that. I find, I'm not driving anymore, but my caregivers and I, have had some harrowing moments. But, I've just been noting to myself, and really that's how I ended up in this conversation today, is finding respite on the greenways of Nashville, the linear parks, in the parks, and the community centers. I still feel that Nashville Nice. And I feel like, you've got to find a place to reconnect with nature, to, de-stress. And you'll notice that people are really kind and connecting over, sighting wildlife and various, things, the flowers in bloom and all the butterflies a couple of weeks ago at Shelby Bottoms were amazing. So I'm just giving a plug for the Greenway system. And if you have a chance to go to greenwaysfornashville.org, you can find maps.
Well, what I'm hearing is that if you take us out of a stressful situation, that maybe you get a little bit of that Nashville Nice back.
Yes.
Well, that's photographer Stacey Irvin. We've also had on Reverend Davy Tucker and journalist Demetria Kaladimos. Thank you all for helping us keep Nashville nice. Thanks for tuning in this hour. This is Nashville's a production of Nashville Public Radio. Next week, we'll be back with our usual roundabout, talking about the biggest news of the week and taking your calls. Also looking at next week, we've got an inspiring story from Fred Bailey on Monday, a celebration of Hispanic heritage, and another installment of In My Place. And if you want to listen back to shows this week, I'll recommend Monday's interview with Joy Flores from the Nashville Rescue Mission. Speaking of people moving here from California, that's her. She's got a lot to say about how we approach homelessness in this city. And yesterday's show about geriatric care in Middle Tennessee covered more ground than you might think. You can catch that in the podcast feed or at thisisnashville.org. Today's episode was produced by Mary Mancini. It was directed by Tasha A.F. Lindley, who's also managing our video stream. Phones, manning them, Josh Deepen. Our board operator, Liv Lombardi. The masterminds behind that theme music, LaRange and Namir Blade. This is Nashville. I'm Blake Farmer. Go in peace.